Yo, what's going on YouTube? Nassif here from Click, and today we are back here in the same spot I was shooting the last video in with the 2024 or 2023 Integra. This time I've switched up the car and I've got a 2023 Integra Type S. Actually, it might be 2024. Shout out to UnityDE5, aka Aneil, for letting me take the car out. We're actually going to get some Chinese food at Spicy Dragon, so shout out Spicy Dragon, little plug there. In terms of what's on this car, Integra Type S, 300 horsepower, 2-liter 4-cylinder, turbocharged, yada yada. Everyone knows the specs. We have an intake, PRL intake, PRL inlet pipe, a couple other supporting mods. We have these, spin the camera around here. We've got these HRE wheels, which were recently installed. Look awesome on this car. Car just needs a little low. Springs are on the way. We'll probably feature this car again on another video or another day, but just do a little walk around here. It's a little wet outside, a little bit of rain, so I don't want to be out here too long. And that's what the car looks like from the rear. So yeah guys, that's pretty much it for this portion. Gonna hop into the car, like I said, go get some Chinese food, take the car for a little drive, give you guys my impressions, and wrap the video up from there. So I'll catch you inside. All right guys, so we're back inside the car. Clarified with the owner, Aneil, that this is a 2024 Type S. Getting some jams on here. Like I said, go get some Chinese food and just take the car for a drive and see how it drives. I've been in the car for, I don't know, like 5-10 minutes or so. Stalled out once already. Gonna hopefully not do that again. It's like deja vu. Already came through here earlier in my car. Now we're coming through here again in the Type S. This car feels exactly like what I want my car to feel like. This is what I think. Well, obviously the A-Spec shouldn't have been like this from the factory, because the Type S wouldn't exist then. Throttle response is dope. Brake pedal feels good. Got that big brake kit from the factory already. Well, biggish brakes. So smooth compared to my car. 271 street mount is a little aggressive. Whatever setup is on here is perfect. Nah, this guy's Aneil's in the passenger seat with me. This guy's telling me to send it. Not a chance. Not a chance. Maybe on the highway blast on the way back from Chinese, but not over here. I know my luck's gonna be a cop right behind us and pull us over. It's always a little nerve-wracking driving someone else's car, man. I'm always so careful when I'm driving another whip. Don't want to end up in any situations like we did earlier on where we almost stall out an intersection. So I can definitely feel the difference in throttle response going from wherever we were in before to normal mode or sport mode. So what are our options here? Comfort mode is probably what I'd use all the time, but because for the sake of YouTube, we're not going to be in this mode. Sport mode, I guess the equivalent of normal on my car. Obviously a little stiffer. Throttle response feels a little more peppy. Steering feels a tiny bit stiffer as well. And we got Sport Plus. That's what I need on my car. So what, this gives you more throttle response, even stiffer steering, which you can feel immediately once it turns into Sport Plus. Suspension does feel a little stiffer, but it's still comfortable. It's not unbearable. The road noise is not bad as well. Like, I really don't have any issues with any of the 3 driving modes here. Let's see what this guy's got set for his individual. So we got the engine in Sport Plus, of course, steering in Sport, which is probably where I want it, because in Sport Plus it actually feels maybe a little too stiff for just daily driving on the road. And suspension in Comfort mode, perfect for daily driving again. Obviously on the track you might switch it into Sport Plus for everything, but I think we'll stick it in Aneil's individual mode for the drive. The clutch, man, the clutch feels so good on this car compared to mine. So hopping in from my car, I've been driving my car today, getting into this thing, and the clutch pedal is just way stiffer. In a good way. It's not a bad feeling clutch. It's very progressive. It doesn't feel on and off in any way. So yeah, definitely a big step up in comparison to the A-Spec. In terms of overall interior fit and finish and stuff, feels about the same. All the pieces kind of everywhere in here are similar to mine, if not identical. I also have this Type S red piece in my car. I got that extra, but I think otherwise pretty much the same. Very nice. The finish actually feels better in this car, and that may be due to it being a newer car, produced later on in the manufacturing line. What in the world is going on here? Oh yeah. So maybe we will hop on the highway instead of taking the side roads, because
Yeah.
You don't want to sit at this red light. Oh, the pop from the exhaust is crazy. I need a Type S so bad, holy. Surprisingly though, like I was telling Aneil earlier on, this feels rather approachable. It doesn't feel too, you know, aggressive or scary to drive. I'm not overthinking anything too much. You know, again, you're looking at a car that looks so aggressive and so beefy and wide and, you know, low and fat tires, and you think that it's going to be like a little bit of a shit show to drive, a little scary to drive, but it feels great, man. This feels like such an approachable car. Honestly feels like, again, very similar to mine. Obviously it is the same car for the most part, but just everything just feels that much nicer. That's crazy. I'm not even on throttle, and I'm not on throttle at all. I'd say maybe using 15% throttle, if that, and it feels so much nicer than the A-Spec. That extra half liter at the under the hood there is making a huge difference. I really just wanted to get on the highway to see how it pulls, and honestly, like, you can feel the torque difference, the torque delivery as well. It feels much more linear. There's way more power available down low. Shocked, man. I'm happy. Again, shout out to Aneil for letting me drive this thing. Again, most times I wouldn't drive someone else's car, but you know, couldn't miss the opportunity this time. Auto rev match doing bits for me there. Don't have to think too much about your downshifts. And it feels very comfortable. Again, like I said, the word I would use to describe this car is very approachable. But I think even just with that pull, getting onto the highway, even if you could call it that, it feels, you have to respect the power. 300 plus horsepower to the wheels up front. You gotta respect the car. You can't beat on it like you could in the A-Spec. Gotta have an idea, I guess, of what you're doing. But very approachable. Actually, kind of shocked, and much more comfortable than I was anticipating. I've been in an FL5, did a 2-hour road trip in that, and it was brutal. By the time the trip was done, my back was shot and my ears were like exploded from the exhaust. This seems to be quite a bit more toned down, and again, just more comfortable, more daily drivable. If I had to choose, again, I don't have the money for either of them, but if I had the money for one of the cars, definitely would go Type S over Type R. Might sound a little dumb to say, and it almost goes without saying, but this feels like my car, but wider, faster, and lower. Which is pretty much what it is. The shifter and the clutch, man, that's what does it for me. Everything else, you know, I'll take the A-Spec, but I need the shifter and the clutch from this car. It feels just so much better, way more engaging. The feel is good. I don't have any of this scrunchiness, almost is the word I would use when I'm driving my car. Sometimes you're going between first, second, and third. There's a tiny bit of like scrunchiness. The noises this thing makes, you might not be able to pick it up on camera because we're not really flying too hard here, but I can hear the induction noise under the hood there, and it sounds fantastic. Pair that with the exhaust. This exhaust OEM, compared to the Type R, as far as I know, I believe is the same exhaust system minus the resonator, and obviously slightly different tune from Acura from the factory, so it makes a tad bit more power and maybe a little bit more sound, but I think this setup is primo, especially coming from the factory. You put an OEM or an aftermarket exhaust on this thing, you may end up in the position I am in my car where it just becomes a tad bit too loud for my liking, and that's why we slapped a big old resonator on my car. So I would maybe, you know, at most with maybe the Type S, a downpipe if that, and I think that from there would probably be, in terms of sound and whatnot, would be where I'd keep it. If I had to choose between the two, I'd still be in the Type S though. And again, guys, like, you're getting all of this extra power, the drivability, the shifter feel, the clutch feel, the brakes, everything, plus all the practicality of the A-Spec, plus the good gas. I mean, gas mileage probably a little bit worse on this car, but I'm sure if you drive it with some, you know, inkling of sense, it probably won't be too bad. But again, when you have this much power and the car drives this good, it'd be very difficult to not have a heavy right foot. But you're getting basically all of the perks of the A-Spec plus a much nicer driving experience. And I think that's a great way to kind of just describe this car. And at bit being an MSRP of about, I think it's high 50s, low 60s, in and around that, you know, bang for buck, man. I know a lot of people think it's an expensive Civic, which I guess technically speaking it is, but given what you're getting underneath the hood and the way the car drives, I'd go as far as to say it's a good deal. Against what a lot of people have said against, you know, the FL5 and the DE5 being, you know, not great deals. All right, so we're back in the car. Got our Chinese food locked and loaded. We're gonna head on out. Gonna take the highway back and get a little bit of a highway blast. Get more than 10% into the throttle. It does require a little bit more throttle input to not stall compared to my car, which I'm still getting a little used to. But the clutch feel is nice. It's not too grabby, it's not too aggressive. You can kind of feel when it's starting to grab. Oh, buddy, it drives so nice. Everything feels so much more taut. But again, guys, in comparison to the A-Spec, in terms of drivability, just again, and Aneil made a comment, made a point to say that it's so hard for me to say more than it just is better, because in every single way, in terms of feel, stiffness, body roll, directness of the steering, the way the rear end almost feels like it's again, we're not really race driving out here, but you can feel these little nuances where the rear end almost feels like it's coming around with the car and not fighting you. Way less flubbery is the best way for me to describe the feel of the car in terms of drivability. The A-Spec feels like an old fat man. Type S feels like a young, fit, athletic dude who's, you know, been to the gym for his entire life. Like the A-Spec feels like an old grandpa car. Obviously, again, you can change that up with mods and stiffer suspension, etc., but then you lose other drivability factors of the car. Whereas from this is OEM, man. This is the way it should have been. And I guess that's why the Type S is deemed the performance car of the year for last year. And I would not be surprised if it's a contender again for this year.
So compared to the FL5, when you drove it for 2 hours, what we see the major comparison difference for you?
Oh, dude, just comfort, man. Just the FL5 feels like a race car that's been converted into, you know, being on the track. That's what it feels like, and again, to an extent, that's what it is. This feels more refined, less raw. You're still getting that performance, the power, the feel of the shifter, the steering, and everything is on par, if not better, in my opinion, than the FL5. But again, the FL5 is just too raw for the road, in my opinion. This car, if you're doing any level of daily driving, commuting, especially being in Toronto, this guy lives, like, you know, in and around the downtown area. You're in that area, you don't want an FL5, we'll put it that way. I would not be a happy camper sitting in an FL5 if I had to daily drive it. You get in a track car or a second car, sure, you get an FL5, you'll be happy with it. But even then, man, even if I was getting this Type S as a second car, I think I'd be happier with this over the FL5. Just again, the daily drivability, comfort, just the sounds, the noises, the stereo system, everything is just better in the Integra. Same way as when you go from Civic Si to Integra A-Spec, everything's just that much better in the A-Spec. And then it's that much nicer in going from the A-Spec to the Type S, or going from Type R to Type S. So it's definitely something I need to get my hands on, man. Definitely something to get my hands on. Oh man, this guy's put me Sport Plus.
Let's go to Sport Plus.
He wants me to send her. I don't even drive my car hard, and this guy wants me to drive it hard. But I'm gonna wait for this juke to go, because I'm gonna catch up to him in no time. Man, that's crazy. We're doing 100 kilometers an hour, guy. If we were in my car, we'd be doing like 75 and still full throttle. Oh, buddy, that's insane. Clutch feels great for driving like that. Again, one gear shift, I can immediately tell you that the clutch is better on this car than my car. There's no question about that. back in individual. Wait, which suspension settings we have here for individual? Are we in comfort?
Yeah.
Comfort is the way for me personally. I think comfort mode for the suspension is where we need to be, is a Type S up over there, the MDX. Engine in Sport Plus, I think that's perfect. My car's in Sport Plus mode all the time as well. You just want the power available when you need it. And then the steering in Sport mode, I think, is again the sweet spot. You go into comfort mode, it feels a little too loose, a little too light. Same with my car. You go into comfort mode on the steering, and it feels like, you know, you could operate it with one finger, which would be a good thing in certain situations. But in terms of again, daily driving, you want something that's just got a little bit more feedback. So yeah, man, overall opinion, so I gave my car like a little bit of a sort of on a scale from 0 to 10, taking all factors accounted in, price, build quality, you know, driving and everything like that. And I gave my car a 7 specifically because it is giving me issues with the turbo. Had the turbo not been giving me issues, my car, I'd probably give it around like a 7.5, 8 overall. Driving in the Type S, man, honestly, it's hard to fault this car. I think it's priced right. I think it's built right. I think the power is right. You know, aftermarket parts are readily available. So, you know, if you want to go down that route, you do have that option. So you know, I'd be more than happy to give the Type S like an overall, if I had to live with it. And it might seem high, but like an 8.5, 9 out of 10, man. There's a reason why this is Performance Car of the Year for 2023. Again, we've been behind the wheel for about 20 minutes overall, and I can certainly and confidently say that this car is fantastic in comparison, especially to the A-Spec. If you have the money and, you know, you're looking for a car and you want to get into some performance level of a car, like, man, Type S is where to go. Type S is where to go. So that's it, guys. We're coming up to the end of the drive. Again, it's a little, hopefully not too long of a video. I like to talk a lot, but just wanted to give you guys my quick first impressions and thoughts of driving around in Type S. Again, shout out to Aneil, aka UnityDE5. There he's on camera. Again, shout out to Unity Performance, hooking us up with the parts. And for me personally, again, shout out to the Fiat Maple Acura for helping out with my car, as well as, you know, other vehicles. But that's pretty much it for me, guys. Anything you want to add before we close off the video?
No, man.
That's it. Sounds good. So that's it. Catch you guys in the next video. Definitely will have this car back on the channel. You know, it will be going through a change or two in the near future. And so once that's done, we'll have the car back on the channel to go over some of the mods and changes, and maybe have a couple other Type S's on the channel as well, just to have some comparisons, to draw some comparisons to. Almost stalled out the car there, getting off the line. The clutch, again, feels way different to the A-Spec, so just allow me, guys. But that's pretty much it. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.
Subscribe.